What is up, everybody? How is everybody doing today? And welcome back to another Clash mini video on the channel. Gizmo tier list has arrived before the update. How? Because I have the developer build and I've been playing with all of these gizmos to try to give you guys an accurate representation as what I think is the best and what I think is the worst gizmo inside of Clash Mini. Just a blanket statement. Also, guys, 3 a.m. tomorrow, we have another huge sneak peek. You do not want to miss that, so set your clocks for that. All right, so let's go over to the gizmos here, and I'm going to go with the worst gizmo in the game currently that I believe it's going to be the Mucho Honcho. Now, everything is still subject to change in the developer build to go live, so things can get buffed, can get nerfed, but I wanted to give you a tier list that I have so far playing with these gizmos. Mucho Honcho. It is pretty good. I did put a video out on this, but unfortunately, as I've played more and more games, it's easy to counter the Mucho Honcho by putting the minis on the correct tiles so that the Mucho Honcho does not get as much value, doesn't knock you back all the way, and doesn't really completely shut you down. It really doesn't do anything. It doesn't do any damage. It just kind of knocks you back, and unfortunately you lose to ranged heroes a lot with the Mucho Honcho, and it's just not so much value, but it is still pretty good as a tank. Moving on to the B tier here, we are going to start with the Sauna. Now, when the mini comes out, it does a lot of work, but the problem is sometimes it takes forever for the mini to come out because nothing gets eliminated, and sometimes it's just the mini that you do not want gets eliminated and doesn't really give you enough value. Yes, it is very good. Yes, it is beefy, but unfortunately, if you don't get the right mini and if you gamble and after the first one they kind of know where it is, so it will be a little bit difficult to play this gizmo. I think this is going to be a very hard gizmo to play, and that is why I'm going to put it into the B tier. Elixir Collector is also in the B tier. Now, you see the Elixir Collector, you probably are like, wow, you know what? This could be amazing. This could be overpowered. Yes, it is. But unfortunately, I think that this is going to be more of a rumble gizmo than anything else because you do get a lot of value in rounds 4 and rounds 5. So I think that this could probably be an A or an S in the rumble. But as far as a duel is concerned, I just don't think you're going to be able to win round 2 or round 3 with an Elixir Collector because the other gizmos are so strong, and that is why it is in the B tier. You just take a huge risk if you do play it. Pancaker is our next one up, and the reason why this is here, yes, it is great. Yes, it gives you value. Yes, it's pretty good with shield mated, but the problem is sometimes you don't get it on the right mini, you don't get it on the right hero, you kind of, are stuck in a situation where it doesn't give you super value and you really are in a tricky spot. Could this be in the A? Maybe, but I gotta keep it in the B tier because I just don't think it does enough as the A tier gizmos. Next up, we're gonna have War 2. This is pretty decent for stopping stuns. Pretty much if they're trying to max their MK, if they're trying to max an Electro Wizard for the stuns, this is going to be huge to be able to defend versus those minis. And that's going to be absolutely crucial. No crowd control effects. It's also going to be super useful versus shield maidens and everything like that, as it stops the CC. That is why it's going to be in the B tier. Could it potentially be in the A? Maybe, but we're going to keep it in the B as it doesn't do super much and it only kind of counters some variants of the decks. Next up, we're going to have the A tier. Mirror is going to be the one. Saint Mirror. It's going to be able to block. It's going to be able to deflect for you. It's going to be able to do a lot of damage to the enemy minis, and that is why it is here in the A tier. It's really good with Archer Queen. It's really good with Royal Champion. Very, very, very good with Royal Champion, as I should say, because it lowers them down as the Royal Champion then can get the bouncing shields off and can get the charges up. Also, it's pretty good with Barbarian King and everything like that. It's just a solid staple and pretty good overall gizmo, and that is why it is in the A tier. Next up, we have Hot Pot. Now, this is a crazy thing that comes out. It does 10 damage, then it does 8, then it does 6, 4, 2. So far, that's what it does, and it does massive damage. That means that first swing is going to be a massive amount of damage. It's 10 damage currently, which is crazy, which really does a lot of value. Yes, it can hit a weaker opponent, but then guess what? After it clears that out, it's going to do 8 damage to the next one, which is still a lot, and then 6 damage again after that. So that is why Hot Pot, if you can position it correctly, if you can get value with the Hot Pot, it could also tank in the back line for those archer shots, for the miners, and then pop out and clear them out. That is why it's going to be in the A tier. Pocket artillery. What else do I need to say about this? It's a rocket ship. It just goes in and absolutely blows up the board, gets you massive value. If you play it correctly, you are going to absolutely take out your enemy, and that is why it's going to be in the A tier. Do I think this can be played around? Yes. Do I think it's going to be overpowered? No. But you know what? Right now it's going to be in the A tier because you want to know what? I don't want in 3 weeks when people are playing it or 2 weeks playing it, this could be SSSS plus. So I'm going to put it in the A tier, and I'm pretty confident that's kind of where it's going to shape out. Next up, we have the King Tower. Now, it does cost 4. It's the only one that costs 4 stars to get, but I truly believe maybe with even a Barbarian King Rush deck of 2 Elixir, if you can steal rounds 1, maybe even round 2, but they could probably, you force out their Gizmo on round 2, and you can get out your King Tower on round 3 to not only destroy their Gizmo right off the bat, because it does double damage to Gizmos, be a huge tank in the front line, and then completely clear out their entire army. That's going to be huge because it has a range of 4. That means if you know where their Gizmo is, you are 100% going to hit it with your King Tower. Risk reward here, but the reward is very high, and that is why I'm going to keep it, or should I say put it, in the A tier, as this is the first ever Gizmo tier list. I could potentially put it in the S tier, I wanted to, but the 4 stars is holding me back, but maybe that might just be me scared a little bit as we don't have, you know, 4 2-cost minis and 1 4-cost mini as a deck. Potentially that's going to come out with King Tower. I do believe that is going to be a very viable strategy, but it is random on the Gizmos, which also could hurt. Next up, we have the S tier. Ho bait. The S tier here is going to be the training camp, and the reason why is because you have +1 damage to start it out, and then you have a boast +1. It adds to the minis to the left and the right of it. That means if you have a Dark Goblin, if you have an Archer Queen, if you even have a Royal Champion, you are going to get a massive amount of value. And by the way, also Countess. Okay, you can put the Countess right up in the front with the training camp, just go crazy. And that is why the training camp has to be in the S tier right now. Will it get nerfed? Potentially. Will it maybe be just as good as every other one in the A tier? Potentially. I mean, you know, the Saint Mirror counters it. If you know you have a Countess, you see, and it does 2 damage to itself, and it eliminates himself before it's able to charge. I mean, that's, you know, before supers. I mean, that's super value. So the training camp, yes, it is very, very good. Yes, I think it's the best Gizmo in the game, but can it be countered? Yes, but time will tell what is going to happen in the future with all of these Gizmos and everything like that. By the way, guys, this is just my thoughts on what Gizmo is going to be the best and the worst by playing it. I've only probably played about 50 games, so I haven't had like a huge sample size. But, I mean, that's still a lot of games, testing these out and kind of getting a feel for where they are going to fit in the meta. But thank you guys so much for watching this YouTube video. I love each and every single one of you, and I will see you guys tomorrow for the sneak peek, 3 a.m. Eastern time. I love you guys. Take it easy, and I will see you guys tomorrow.